everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook. I am Stacey Thomas. On Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstaceythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show.
Unrestricted and unlimited. Talk about something. You're one-on-one with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited. We can talk about anything you want. Unrestricted and unlimited. Let's talk about something. You're one-on-one with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited.
Hello. I am your host, Stacey Thomas, for the Stacey Thomas Talk Show. Welcome, everybody. And once again, my platform is being blessed with another awesome individual. I like to refer to my guests as bold people. Unrestricted, unlimited mean you cannot put them in one genre. You can't put them doing one thing. Tonight's guest is a very special guest. He will also be appearing live in person in Richmond, Virginia on August 24th. He will be a panelist and speaker for the Wellness Community Expo and Fashion Show event, RVA. So I would like to welcome him on the show. It looks like, oh, there he is. So he is certified iridologist, nutritionalist, and health and herbalist, Lamar Price, Dr. Lamar Price. Hello.
Well, hello, Stacey. Thank you for having me. How you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for agreeing to come on this platform. How's everything going?
Everything's good on my end. Copacetic, celebrating life every day. I'm doing good. I'm blessed to be alive in the land of the living.
I know that's right. Every day is a blessing. Dr. Lamar, when I was asked to cover this event that's coming up in Richmond on August 24th, I was given a spreadsheet, but then Sharon mentioned your name. So when Sharon mentioned your name and said that you're an iridologist, my first question was, what's that?
You want an answer?
Yes.
Okay. So to answer your question, iridologist is like, you could either pronounce it like in the Jamaican tongue of Irie, like Irie-mon, like the wealthy part of Jamaica, part of Virginia, rich man, yeah, man.
Okay.
Irie or irisdology, the study of the iris. You just drop the S and the D is like silent, like the Django or something like that. But anyway, iridology is the study of the iris. The iris is the color part of your eyes. That will be the blue, green, brown, brown being dominant trait or gene or chromosomal gene for eye color. The iris has thousands of fibers embedded in a concentric circle that goes around the iris. And these lines or fibers are the fibers of time. It's a timeline. So every line has information that's in conjunction or parallel to every single organ in the human body. So 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, all the way around the clock, the iris shows different areas of the human body parts, the anatomy, physiology. So I do iridology as a method or a means, avenue, or some type of apparatus way of telling what is really going on with a person. And that's like my way of diagnosing a patient or a client in the natural holistic world that I'm working in currently. Prior to the holistic and becoming a natural doctor, I worked in the medical field. We don't look in your eyes. We're checking neurological issues, dilating for drugs or, some type of cognition. We could look at the eye and, how your iris and pupil move. In the hospitals, we do assessments, and our assessments are based on lab panels like blood, x-rays, physical touch, or just a questionnaire you fill out, check everywhere the parts of your body that hurts. Well, I like what I do because iridology is accurate. I don't have to ask you to fill out a checklist. I don't have to ask you your medical background. I don't have to ask you your history or any of your family history. The eye records everything that's going on in the human body from the time of conception for the 9 months in the womb, 8 or 9 months, even after birth and from current. I can go all the way back. If you're 50, 60, 70 years old, I can go back to the time you were born to look in your eyes as your overall health constitution, because everything that happens to a human being, mind, body, soul, spirit, physical, emotional, environmental, everything that happens to us, whether it's good or bad, your brain is recording everything. Your brain recorded your first birthday. Your brain recorded first day of kindergarten. Your brain recorded when you fell off the bike for a first time you ate, the first time you cried, your mother's breast milk, the first time you fell and hurt yourself. Your brain remembers everything. It remembers smells from when you were young. It remembers what you heard when you were young. Songs you haven't heard in 30 years, you can hear the first 2 notes in memory. Sinuses is part of your memory. So your brain, where your memory is located, it stores up in 100 billion brain cells located in the human brain called neurons. There's an information room that collects data like RAM, like a computer, and it holds 600 trillion terabytes worth of information. So it's unlimited amount of information I can get from the human body. And so the brain uses picture languages, and picture language is known as one of the first types of written language, a picture or Sanskrit or Paleo. So I studied Paleo Hebrew. I'm fluent in it. I studied Egyptology to learn how to read papyrus and learn how to read Sanskrit and walls and the writings, because all languages come from a different mother tongue. English and Latin, or English and Spanish, are sister languages, and we use letters, and our letters form words, and every word has a meaning, and that comes from Latin. Latin comes from the Greek, the Persian. Then you go back, the Babylonian, Synoptic, Coptic languages, Sanskrit, back to Egyptian, Arabic, Aramaic, and then you go to Hebrew. So all languages that are pictures, our human body uses the same hermeneutic principle for language as the very first spoken tongue, which is pictures. So when I look in the eyes, I'm just looking at a bunch of pictures. I learned how to speed read. I can look in your eye and within seconds tell you everything going on. And then now we're understanding how to accurately diagnose a person, to look at the source, the start, the stem, the seed of where your problem come from. Because in a hospital, we're just looking at symptoms. In the medical world, everything is symptomatic. So if your knee hurts, we'll just say, oh, you got arthritis, we got to do a knee replacement. But I'm not going to tell you why your knee hurts. Well, it's inflammation. I'm not going to tell you where that came from. Well, inflammation comes from plaque. So plaque on the bones, joints, and ligaments, arthritis. Plaque on the brain, Alzheimer's. Plaque in the blood vessels, veins, and arteries, cholesterol. So we make up Latin terms and Greek for medical terminology, some German, a little bit of French, like alopecia, that's French for fox. But most of the medical terminology never directs you back to where the problem came from. So in the medical field, I'm trained clinically to treat symptoms. Now, as a natural doctor, I'm trained to focus on the source to the symptom, but I can't rely on people telling me I have diabetes. I don't want to hear that, because I know what the word diabetes is Greek. I know what it means. It has nothing to do with your symptoms. I need to go back to the source, look in the eye so I can see your pancreas, to see the functioning, low vitality, poor absorption of nutrients. And that's why I do iridology. That's why I'm called an iridologist, someone who specializes in studying of the eyes, so I can tell you what the heck is going on.
So listen, most people, right? Okay, when you were younger, who did you want to be? What did you want to do?
When I was younger, between Batman, Superman, and then Bruce Lee. Those are my idols. I'm from the 70s.
So that's what caught my attention. Like, you're not only in a field that's overly populated. Most jobs or different things people are doing now, it's oversaturated, right? With people doing the same thing. So I'm looking at a young African-American male. And when I think about what most young African-American men want to do when they grow up, sports, music, parents telling them you go to college, you get a good job, and you be satisfied, and nobody's telling them to think outside of the box, right?
Right.
Obviously, you started thinking out of the box. So what is it? What happened that took your focus off wanting to be Batman to studying eyes?
Oh, wow. You got a tough question there, but the best way I can answer it in the shortest form is that when I was a child, I talked and thought like a child, but as I got older and matured, I put away childish things. So by the time I was 8 years old, I was introduced to the streets, the gangs. I ran with my best friend, who he was a gang member. His brother was a gang member. So peer pressure, I started hanging with gang members, doing things that gang members do. So I was ditching school, in and out of school, wasn't getting educated. I was ill-learned, didn't care about education, never did homework. I would cheat off of everybody else's work, turn it in. I got to about ninth grade, got in a lot of trouble, got kicked out of Inglewood School District for fighting and getting into a lot of trouble. My dad had to find another school for me to go to, and then I ended up going to the YA Youth Authority system. After getting out of the Youth Authority system, then I just dropped out of school totally. I was at Hamilton High, got kicked out of Hamilton, went to Crenshaw High, 10th grade, I was done. I didn't go to school after that, just ran the streets, ran with my friends. I faked the funk, undercover, while family is in church every day throughout the week, work, church, work, church. I'm in the streets hanging out with my buddies, learning street hood type things. So my mind was already out there, and I watched all of my friends die. I was going to different funerals every week. So in my mindset, it's just a matter of time. I didn't have no love for God. I didn't have no love for life. I didn't have a value. I didn't know who I was. All I saw was young men dying in the streets of Los Angeles. Everybody's high. Everybody's drunk. So I'm just following the crowd, watching them make a lot of money. So by the time I got into my adult age and got into some serious trouble, and I was diagnosed with a disease, and the doctors told me I had 8 months to live, it was all the lifestyle. But at the time, I did not know that. I didn't know it was the junk food, the bacon double cheeseburger with pastrami and chili on it. I didn't know it was the milkshakes, the sodas, the alcohol, smoking weed with my friends, and doing stupid stuff. I didn't know, not sleeping. I did not know this. So when the doctors diagnosed me with a blood disorder, I got locked up. Not even 3 days. I get diagnosed on a Friday. I'm locked up on Sunday. I go to jail, plead guilty. I got a 48-year prison sentence. I'm not going to see the streets for 48 years. 3 years later, God orchestrated for me to get released on technicalities. They realized it wasn't me who committed the crimes that I committed, that I admitted that I was guilty to, because I was high. I wasn't in my right mind, wasn't Mirandaized. A whole lot of stuff happened, but it was a setup by God to allow me to get locked up for 3 years, like Christ was in the grave for 3 days, glorified, renewed. My body got renewed because I became a vegan by way of a Muslim brother who was 2 cells down from me, who had 400-year sentence. He told me, don't eat the meat, don't eat the junk, just eat the fruits and vegetables, eat clean, and your disease will disappear. So I'm pulling on the bars, doing crunches, doing push-ups every day, eating clean, vegan lifestyle for 3 years. I get out in 2000, and the lady who helped me get out, I went right back to school. Went back to school, got a GED at Santa Monica City College after getting a GED, enrolled into some courses, took some classes, and went into early school for medicine, pre-med. After you go through the whole shenanigans and you get your doctorates and get your degrees and you start learning about more medicine and more medicine and more medicine, do clinicals, do intern, you hook up with the right type of people who will hold your hand, walk you through the medical facilities, walk you through the residency, walk you through the hospital wards, and teach you how to Dougie. When I learned how to Dougie and I learned medicine, then I watched a lot of people die. Signing up to be a medical physician to help people get rid of disease or look for a cure or look for the source to help people medically, clinically, in the westernized way of thinking of medicine, which is all philosophy. It's a cool thing because science is cool. It's created by man, done by man. But one of the problems with science is we leave the creator out, and we don't want to hear spiritual things. We don't want to hear God. We don't want to say to the patient, this is stress. This is a spiritual attack. This is just demons. This is why you're sick. You're doing too much. You're helping your mama. You're helping your family. You're giving, and now you don't feel good. You're not getting enough massages. You're not meditating. You're not woosah. You're not Pilates. You're not stretching. You're not yoga. You're not eating clean. We don't focus on these things that can help correct the issues, So in the interim, I get to watch a whole bunch of Black people die, and we're writing prescriptions, sending you home, sending you to referrals, refer you to this, oncologist, endocrinologist, respiratory, gastro. Everybody gets a piece of you. We're like pimps. The patient is like a prostitute. We use your body like a whore, and we make money off all of these assessments when all clinical studies are based on one person. That means we take your blood, run it through a panel that doesn't even know you. So then we watch all of these people diagnosed. We turn a ton of medicine, lots of surgeries, come back, back and forth until you die. And that's for the birds. I got tired of it. I watched it. American Medical Association said, we don't hire you to give people apples and oranges and fruits and vegetables and tell them to stop taking the medicine. We make money on the medicine. So stop telling the people to go home and take hot liver oil and castor oil and trust God. So when you tell me this, I'm walking away. So I went on a search how to help people, and that's how I became a natural doctor. And that's why I do what I do.
I'm sure there's some people irritated with you because you're taught to do things based on science, but you're telling me you took the science and you added God, and you've learned totally, like, you're not dependent on medicine. You're dependent on God and what God has given.
Right. And before I depend on God, because God is spiritual, God is a spirit. God told us as his people, melanated, brown skin, the strongest species on the planet. We're the best athletes, the best football, basketball, tennis. We outsing Kelly, what's her name? Katy Perry. We can outsing her. We can outsing Adele. You could take the worst of us in a Baptist, Backwood, AME, Zionist, Pentecostal church in the back of a corner, take the worst singer, they still can outsing because we are the best at everything we do. So you take us as a community, you target us, and you say we are the leaders of all the diseases. You're going to make plenty of money off of us because we got the best blood, we got the best bodies, the best organs. Our bodies can endure more. We endured 400 years of slavery in Egypt. We endured 400 years of slavery in America. We can endure the worst of the worst. Rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Our bodies are really, really strong as the strongest people. So when I learned this concept, I said, let me walk away and focus on natural principles, nature, the laws of nature, then spiritual, because God said first natural, then spiritual. So it's okay to be spiritual. I don't like religion or being religious because that's a system. I want to get out of the system of Emancipation Proclamation, which means you're free from my hands, leave the plantation, but you're not free from my system. So systematically, you're trained in medicine, you're trained in finance, you're trained in the political arena or system or the religious system. So I got out of a system and I started traveling to different countries, looking at people in their hundreds with no canes, no walkers, no medication, no glutamate blockers, inhibitors, no diuretics, no hub-arounds, no pain meds, and they're just doing Tai Chi. They doing, meditating, and I watch people drink a lot of herbal teas. They're eating clean, eating a lot of fish, eating it raw. Everywhere I went, I saw people thrive. But in America, I've been to all of these different states in our nation. I'm watching people in every community, every neighborhood. They're sick. They're on a ton of meds. I've watched people in their 80s on 6,000 milligrams every day of medication, and not one time will they question it. Every single drug from baby Tylenol or OTC, 81, 50 milligrams, it don't matter, up to Oxycontin, $600 billion in a year. This stuff has negative side effects. We don't use critical thinking. We're not using inductive reasoning. So when do we get to a point where somebody represents the Black family, the Black tribe? We are Zulu, Mandingo, Patois, Swahili. We are tribal nations. We have been separated. So you divide us, you conquer us. But if we can unify ourselves with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, revelation to illuminate our mind, the principle and the premises that I can submit is that if we wake our people up and educate that all of these diseases and sickness and diagnosis are a joke. Jokes can be funny or jokes can be harmful. And it is a real joke because there's a patent on every disease. How many Black people know that? There is no cure for no disease in America. How many Black people know that? There is medicine and treatment, but it comes with great grave to the graveyard side effects because of cause effect action reaction. When you put synthetic chemicals into your body, metabolism being the process of turning it into energy, it becomes stored electron molecules, negative energy. Then we have all of these side effects. And then you get new side effects and they blame it on another drug. I mean, another disease. They'll say, oh, now you got cancer. No, well, it was diabetes. Well, it was lupus. Well, now it's MS. Well, it was Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig ain't gave you nothing. It was MS. You're not from MS-13. It was cancer. That's a Latin word from 57 CE, the Greek word from 400 BC, carcinomas, which means crab, has nothing to do with your white cells. So we're just uneducated. God will never be without a witness. He will always have somebody who will stand up for righteousness and somebody who's going to be a thug for the kingdom, somebody who's going to be gangster and represent. This is why God allowed me to run the streets, so I'm not scared of opposition to get in people's faces. I'm not stupid. I'm not arrogant. I have to stay humble so God covers me and protects me and covers me from danger seen and unseen. And I make my friends close, but my enemies, I embrace them. So I have sit-down conversation with pharmaceutical reps. I talk to medical doctors and their way of thinking, and let's come together in minds of understanding integratively. Let's come together. I'm helping people get rid of lumps out of the breast with something simple. You all are removing the breast and you get paid $830,000 and then come back once the breast is gone and reintroduce chemo radiation and then say, oh, it's spread. Or how about we just get rid of the problem and cut to the chase and save these women's breasts with the mammary gland, which is connected to the ovarian gland, which is connected to the pineal gland, so these women don't have a hormone imbalance, because the strongest species on the planet is the Black woman, who is being targeted for all diseases. So my little voice is reaching one person at a time to say, I was in the house. I was in Pharaoh's house. I come to set the captives free. I come to help the children of Israel, the blood-bought, the redeemed, the melanated tribe. I want to wake us up, because there is nowhere on earth in history, in writing or in the mind of God, that says my people die from cancer, COVID, diabetes. We're dying for the lack of knowledge, because we won't use our own thinking that these diseases didn't exist in slavery. Great-grandmama didn't have it. Great-great-grandmama and papa didn't have it. They didn't check prostate. They wasn't doing pap smear and C-sections. They weren't on prenatal and birth control. They was having natural birth, 10 kids at home, easy, in the southern states. And here we are today. There's no more families. There's no more family reunions. There's no more Thanksgiving. Everybody's on the phone. Everyone's disconnected. I'm just that one person who wants to connect with you, to have a platform to reach so many people. And that's why I'm going up to Richmond, to spread this information, to wake people up, to bring wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because God said that all you're getting, get an understanding. I need to understand why I hurt. I need to understand why I don't feel good. Why does my back hurt? Why is my stomach hurt? Why is there blood in my stool? If you don't know, go to these medical doctors today, and they are going to lie to you in your face, when the number one oath is to practice prevention. They call it preventative medicine, but the medicine doesn't prevent you from being sick. The medicine prevents you from being healthy. We call it allopath medicine, internal medicine. How come we don't let food be the medicine and let medicine be the food? Let fruits and vegetables, nuts and grains, eating from the earth, because we're earthlings. And if you're sick, just go home. You're homesick. Return back to the earth of the Lord, the fullness thereof. And when we eat from the earth, game changer. But we don't offer fruits and vegetables in the medical field. We're practicing, and it all goes back to witchcraft. And I don't tell people don't go to your doctor. I tell people if it's a 911, you better go to the doctor. And thank God for nurses. Thank God for doctors. And thank God that people have a heart and a mind to serve people, be servants, healthcare, advocacy for health. But it's unfortunate that everybody's mind is inundated and engrafted into a Western way of thinking. Because if you go to Ethiopia, Somalia, go to Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, go to Ghana, there are people at 180 years old right now today in Ghana.
There's somebody I know that's from Taiwan. His grandfather recently passed, 105 years old. And even I think a few months before he passed, when I found out his grandfather was 105, I asked, well, is he still walking around, blah, blah. Yes. 105 years old.
They
So
doing
I
this.
have to say, when you say, you mentioned thinking, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about, I'm loving this. I'm loving what you're saying. I'm getting a lot of comments. They're loving what you're saying. When we
I
talk
can't
about,
read the comments, so you'll have to let me know if they're good or bad. But hopefully, we don't offend anybody because I'm
no,
not here to offend nobody or disrespect your platform. But go ahead.
no, we got a hallelujah. Ricky
Okay.
Martin, the sponsor of the upcoming event, spiritual gangster. He
Yeah,
called
Slick
you.
Rick. Slick Rick.
Ricky said, and Ricky's sharing the event. It is going to be August 24th in Richmond, Virginia. Dr. Lamar Price will be there.
I will be in the house. That's the day that they celebrate my birthday. But since I don't celebrate birthdays, I'm coming to celebrate everybody in the room.
I know that's right. So you mentioned thinking, right? And I know you have to have godly thoughts. Think the way God wants you to think. I'm going to say this about one of the people that are on the live now, the lady that said hallelujah. First question is it our thinking when man speaks the illness, when man speaks the disease, when man says there's no cure? Is that part of our problem?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you why, and I'll sum it up as fast as I can for the sake of time. And we'll have more dialogue on this. But there's a concept that I teach people. And I want you, do you have something to write with real quick? Can you write something down
You
while
want me
you're
to write
getting
it down
something to
for
write with?
myself?
Yeah, for yourself. And then you can share this with everybody. It goes back to you are what you think. As a man or a woman, as a person thinks, so are you, because your mind, your thoughts become who you are. Every decision that you make mold and shape the person who you're going to become. So if you're having negative thoughts, you're going to have a negative outcome. If you're having positive thoughts, you're going to have a positive outcome. That's why God said, think on things that are true, just, good report, not the doctor's bad report, virtue, praise. But if all I hear is cancer, if all I hear is diabetes, and then I say it, I am a diabetic, I have cancer, I suffer from high blood pressure, but I don't know what these words mean. God says, study to show yourself approved, rightly divide. The key word is word to get to another key word, the truth. The truth has made us free. So because we don't have truths in the Black community, we are getting lies. So if I lie to you and say you have cancer, if you believe it, and I can convince you and make you think and believe that you have cancer, then you speak it, it becomes who you are. Now, I want you to write this thing down. It's called the seed of the serpent. I'll make it quick so we can move on. The seed of the serpent, that's the title. There's 4 things that the seed of the serpent requires, because in all alphabets, the original alphabet, A, B, C, D, the 4th letter D, 1, 2, 3, 4, or alpha, beta, gamma, delta, it doesn't matter, or aleph, dalet, aleph, bayet, gimel, dalet. So that's Hebrew, original. The first letter D represents a door because every door has 4 sides. This is in life. Your name, a title, a diagnosis. Diagnosis is a door. Deception is a door. Disease needs a door. We have a door that we can go through that will bypass the door of disease called dominion. We have dominion over all sickness and disease, but we don't go through that door because we trust the doctors who are using a door called doctrine. And when we go to their doctrine that says we have cancer, we believe it. Then God backs up and said, I never told you that you were naked. Who told you you were naked? Who told you you had cancer? The doctor's report based on what? They took my blood. They took your door. The life of the flesh is the blood. So blood is called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. 4 parts to blood. Hemoglobin, which is from Dr. Globin, who created the word cancer, or the definition cancer in 1868. He redefined it and put it in a medical journal. He's focusing on the blood. So white blood cells are now cancer cells. And he's the one who says there's no cure. When God says, I protect you from all dangers seen and unseen. I gave you 42 pints of leukocytes, lymphocytes, T cells, B cells, who will eradicate bacteria, germs, viruses, pathogens, germs, E. coli, mold, mildew, snake bite, venom bite, any kind of bite. So the problem is we don't trust God. We trust man. We're listening to man. He gets into our mind. Here you go. Write this down. Number 1, your your language. Number one, language. Write language down for number one. Number two, thinking slash thoughts. Number two, thinking thoughts. Number three, there's ABC. Outline it. Number three, A, 3B, 3C. Philosophy, religion, belief. Number four, this is 4 parts to get to a human being. Mind, body, soul, spirit are the 4 parts called dichotomy, the letter D, dichotomy, mind, body, soul, spirit, 4 parts. In order to get to somebody's mind, in order to get to somebody's soul, their spirit, their body, to control how they walk, to control what they put in their mouth, to control which way they go, to control them to stand on a footprint 6 feet away when disease don't carry measuring tapes. COVID don't know what 6 feet is. Viruses and germs do not know what 6 feet is. But I can control you by controlling the language. I'm going to control the language. That's what Aristotle taught Alexander the Great. You can control one person, millions of people, a whole society. Control the language, you control the way they think. If you control the person thinking, you control their religion, philosophy, belief. You control that. The 4th thing you can control is their behavior. Why are people believing they need surgery when God says, thou shalt not cut on the flesh? Why do people think they got to take medicine, which is a drug, which has negative side effects, all of them, which are synthetic, acidic? If you become acidic, toxicity levels go higher and higher because you're over medicated. Then you're not going to walk. You're going to have dry mouth, thirsty, liver damage, kidney damage, elevated heart rate. You're going to be dizzy, shortness of breath. You can't breathe. And then they start adding more symptoms, more diagnosis, opening up more doors. And then you die for the lack of knowledge because you did not know that you was a slave, because our good ancestor, Harriet Tubman, said these Negroes did not know they were slaves. I couldn't help these niggas. But if you know you are sick and you know you could be healed and that you're already healed, then you're not going to be trying to do surgery. I'm going to, all about a point of time, I'm going to wait until my change comes because I get all new blood every 90 days. So what? I got diagnosed with AIDS. So what? I got herpes. So what? I got MS, lupus, or any type of blood disorder. I get all new blood cells, 12 pints every 90 days. I'm going to wait. I'm going to drink some detox. I'm going to flush myself with water. My platelets is iron and calcium. I'm going to get more greens, more calcium from the orange juice. I'm not going to worry about sugar. They got in my brain and messed me up with sugar. God said everything he created is good and clean. So if I eat every tree, every herb, every plant, every seed that beareth after its own kind, a book of Bereshit, the Greeks call it Genesis 1:28, then we're already healed because we're going back to the earth, back to nature, natural. Medicine's not natural. Surgery is not natural. Natural birth is vaginal. Why are you doing C-sections, Black women who are the leaders of this? Because it's all unnatural, and they're leading us back to the pharmaceutical. And the Greek word for pharmaceutical, medicine, and drugs is pharmakia. The definition is witchcraft, mind control. That's why all drugs are controlled substances. Sorcery, seducing spirit, demon possession. All of these terms mean pharmakia in Greek, which I speak. And I know the language. I know the gods and the goddesses, the 8-day calendar. I studied it to educate my people to wake up. Let's stay woke. Let's become conscious. Let God revive you back to life in this last day of revival as evil seducing spirits are waxing worse. Knowledge is increasing with technology. But unfortunately, so many people are inundated with lies. When someone hears truth, they're not going to believe it. When I tell people, you don't have no cancer, you don't got diabetes, but my numbers, that don't mean nothing.
Dr. Lamar, excuse me. Well, a friend of mine said, when I say interesting, that means I'm coming up with something else. So I'm trying not to say interesting.
No, please.
So the other part of the thinking thing that I was, the way you think that I was going to tell you is, so one of the viewers now, who's agreeing with what you're saying and saying that you're speaking these things that she says also. Her and her daughter was on my show a couple weeks ago. Her daughter had brain tumors. Miss Benita, please put it in the box. But she had cancer, right? Mm-hmm. Along with a brain tumor, or maybe 2. Mm-hmm. They told her she needed to cut, and we're not here to give medical advice. We're not.
I am, but go ahead.
I'm not telling people not to go to the doctor or anything, but I'm learning more and more to trust in God. So her
Right.
daughter comes on my show and she's talking about what she dealt with. And they told her she needed to remove her breasts. She said no. They told her again later, you need to remove your breasts.
But
She
we're still
said
talking about the brain, right?
she had Miss
A
Benita.
brain issue. A brain issue.
Well, Miss Benita, please put in the comments what was wrong with Jamise. So she had cancer, and I'll tell you the other thing. But what got my attention was she said they told me that I needed to remove my breasts. She said no. A few years later, they told her again. She said no. They told her again. Years later, she got really sick. The lady that's on the live is one of those praying mothers. But the daughter said to me, she trusted in God. They were not going to remove her breasts. She passed away a couple of times. She's living, just graduated with her master's degree, just wrote a book, thinking in faith. And that's what she said. She didn't let their words get into her head.
That's a good example. And to God be the glory on that. And I really want to applaud and honor Jamise for doing that, because she was strong-minded. She was strong-willed, that it did not make sense. She wanted to preserve her body, and she did a leap of faith. But that's cool, but everybody doesn't have that story, unfortunately. So many people pray, they go to prayer lines, they go to church, they fast, they pray, they do revivals, they shama mama, and they do everything possible natural, but they still die. When sin finishes, it brings forth death. All unrighteousness is sin. See, a lot of people are not doing everything right. You could do 99% positive, but 1% negative. You still was believing negative. You got to feed your faith, not your fear, because fear has torment. And see, that's what they bring to you, fear. And when you have fear of the unknown and you don't really know what's going to happen, fear creeps in, and then you think you're doing the right thing, but it can still lead to destruction, which is a door. And there's another double door behind that called death. And that's why people die. And they'll say, oh, well, they did natural and they have faith and they prayed, but why did they die? Because it was still something that we're not totally sure of. Were they taking pills? Were they drinking this? Were they taking multivitamins? Was there still the spirit of fear there while they were doing something natural? Because I could trust God and say I love God, but I can go out and rape and kill people, and that doesn't make sense. I could trust God and say I'm about to bless this food that I'm about to receive, bless it for the nourishment of my body by faith. I believe that God is going to bless it, but I'm praying over some crack cocaine, and I'm about to eat the crack and ask God to bless it. So we're asking things that are indicative, and it's like it's not right. We got to pray with wisdom and understanding. Faith without the work is dead. A lot of people are not detoxing. A lot of people are not eating clean. A lot of people are in hospice. They're still getting morphine shot in them every hour. A lot of people have drips going in their arms with sodium chloride, which is toxic. We're still believing the cancer. We're still claiming it, but claiming victory at the same time. You can't say, I've been delivered and I'm healed, set free, I'm more than a conqueror, but I'm going out raping people every night. I'm going out murdering people every night. Something's wrong there. So I'm not trying to tear people down. And yes, we need doctors. Yes, go to the hospital if it's an emergency. But at the same token, change your thinking. Repentance is first. God said, be transformed first by the renewing of the mind. He didn't say go fast and pray. He didn't say go exercise. A lot of what we're reading is misinterpreted. It's not context, it's pretext. If you don't know that King James rewrote the whole Bible for his administration, his executive order of 1608, then you're not going to understand that only certain things come out by fasting and praying was added to the Bible by King James. Fast and pray, hold fast to thou have. You don't understand what fasting really is. You got to go back to the original. So we don't really know why people are dying. That's why we do autopsy. We go and examine the body. They're not going to write cancer. They're not going to write diabetes. And for the record, they are diagnosing all Black women and men with brain tumors. They're going to show you a picture, which is worth 1,000 words, called tomography.
Excuse me. She just put up that her daughter had 3 brain tumors.
Okay. So if she had 3 brain tumors, myself, who studied neuroscience for 6 years, myself, who have dissected the brain 3 times. If you have a tumor in the brain, especially 3, she wouldn't have said, hi, Mom. She wouldn't have been able to talk. She wouldn't have been able to have cognition, inductive reasoning. She wouldn't have been able to focus. She would have been drooling. She would have just been staring. She could have had Parkinson's. Her brain would have had a dysfunction. How is she functioning? Getting up, moving, brushing her teeth, urinating on her own, having bowel movements, eating, metabolizing, sleeping, waking up, getting thirst. How was her brain functioning if there was a tumor? They show her a picture, which is worth thousands of words. There it is right there. There's a spot. There's a lesion. It's the size of a grapefruit, a lemon. It's 6 centimeters. They start throwing stuff. And I thank God that she didn't believe the hype. She said, nope, for God I live, for God I die. To live is Christ, to die is gain. I'm putting my faith in God. If we have more people that could do that and all about a point of time, wait until the change comes. Your brain renews itself. Your cells renew itself. Bone cells 6 months. Blood 90 days. All skin cells every day. The flesh dies daily. We got to wait and trust in God, just like Job.
Wow. Dr. Lamar, please don't be too hard on us.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. As humans, because I see that you're excited and you're bold and you're giving out information. But as humans, and I am trying to move past this, you know, sometimes we, from a wee little age, we've been told things. Trust the doctor. The doctor know what's wrong with you. That some of us are too afraid, and that's what I have to pray on, to trust something else. I know I'm supposed to trust God, and people know this, but it can be so hard sometimes to get it out your head what they're saying. What do
you said it best, Stacey. You said it. It's human. It's a process. Everybody's not there. There's the least, there's the greatest, there's the lower, there's the highest. You got some people who are super intelligent, very intuitive, great discernment. Some people, you can't fool them. Like, you can fool Stymie. You can't fool Buttweek. Some people get it. Some people take forever. God is the ultimate judge. He doesn't judge two people the same because he knows everybody's not on the same level, frequency, and mentally. So that's why God said, judge not. So I don't judge people. I'm just angry because I'm watching innocent sheep. I'm watching vulnerable people that are naive, and the doctors are taking advantage of them. It's not the doctor's fault. It's not the nurse's fault. It's a system. The medical system is practicing pharmaceutical, which is witchcraft, which is mind control. It's demonic. The letter D, door, Dalet, Delta. There's a door to the mind, body, soul, spirit called dichotomy. The devil comes to steal, kill, and number one, destroy. How does he destroy people? The lack of knowledge. He takes that away from us. We are free will moral agents. We are free to believe what we want. We are civil libertized. We have liberty. We are free. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. But if you want to enslave people, put fear of the unknown. Fear has torment. God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. So some people can't use their own cognitive reasoning, critical thinking, inductive reasoning. We let people think for us. So that's okay. It's up to you. It's up to Ricky to continue putting platforms together. It's up to people who know better to help the other. When one falls, there's another to pick that one up. Iron sharpens iron. We have to come together as a committee of one. We have to bind together mentally, spiritually to wake those up. No child left behind. No child of God left behind. Even the elderly. When you get set in your ways and condition, Harriet Tubman said, I could not help all the slaves. Many of them did not know they were slaves. So if you don't know that the body naturally heals, you say, I trust God. That's why God says they're professing me, but they don't possess me. They have a form of godliness. They put the church hats on. They put the suit and tie. They got the titles apostle, bishops, and prophets, and elders, deacons, and reverends. They get in the church. They have a platform, but they're suckers because they're hiding behind the clergy, the cloth. They're hiding behind religion. And that's why God says they're clouds without water. They have a form of godliness, but they deny my power. That's why so many people are sick and dying. I don't want to be religious. I want people to go back to God and say, God, if you see anything inside of me that doesn't belong, take it out. Let me remove myself. Let me lean up to my own understanding, my own thinking. In all my ways, I'm acknowledging you, God. I humble myself. I want to come right. I want to be correct, contrite, broken spirit. I tried it 30 years, 40 years, 50 years my way. Let me back off, push pause, and let you do your job, God. Oh, I'm already healed. Oh, I'm already paid. I already got $1 billion on my birth certificate. Oh, I already supposed to possess the land. I'm not supposed to be renting. I'm not supposed to be. Oh, God, I didn't realize that I was more than a conqueror. I didn't realize that I'm the blood-bought redeemed and I'm vaccinated by your love. You told me don't defile the temple. I forgot. I went and got shots. I went and put medicine. Let me rethink, go back, and God is going to do the rest. You're planting seeds. I'm just watering it, and that's why I walk in my purpose, because Lamar means water, sea, ocean. I vibrate at a high frequency. I'm leading people back to water. Detox, get more water, because the life of the flesh is the blood, and blood is 92% water. Woo!
Dr. Lamar.
I can't wait till August 24th. I'm going to be in the house. It's going down. I'm a Dougie. I'm a Dap. I'm coming correct. I'm coming with it. Anybody that's in the presence, the Almighty is going to be there. I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. You tell the people to come out. Spread the word. Let's push this. When I show up, I show out. I'm coming not to be better than anybody. I'm humble. I'm a servant. And I'm going to stay that way. I don't care about doctor titles. I don't care about accolades. I don't care about nothing. All I want to know is, can I help one person? Can I help you be delivered? Can I help you be set free? That's all that matters. At the beginning of the day, we wake up with new mercy and grace. I need to remind you who you are. We have forgot who we are. We forgot because they stole our identity. It's called identity theft at its finest. You're not diabetic. You're not lupus. Lupus means wolf. You're not a wolf.
Dr. Lamar, August 24th. August 24th. Richmond 24, Richmond, Virginia.
It's going down.
I'm going to put the flyer up. You will be there. You will be in the house.
Coming with the shea butter, coming with the magnets.
Miss Benita says she's shouting. Community Wellness Expo, Sharon Oliver. You can contact Sharon Oliver. You can contact Ricky Martin. It is being given by the fittogive.org nonprofit. If you have a problem that you for some reason can't find them on Facebook, you can always inbox me. Dr. Lamar,
Dr. Stacey.
Dr. Lamar.
Hey, I ordain you as a doctor. Boom. Oh, wow. There you go. Oh, wow. Honorary, take it.
I know you'll be in the building. I know you'll be speaking. Do you think you will have time for examinations?
Absolutely. While they have their platform and the order of their services going on today, I'm going to be there early. I'm going to even be staying over on Sunday and Monday. If I need to go to somebody's house, they can't make it, they're bedridden, home, hospice, I'm going to go into your house and get you out of hospice. I've done it for thousands of people, literally thousands. I don't even keep track. After about 600 people, I said, man, I'm doing a lot of work. 560,000 miles on my car, going to the backwoods of places to help people get out of hospice. I don't kick the hospice nurse out. We need you to help us change them diapers and bed sheets. Just stop giving them all this morphine that's killing them. Let's give them some green juice. Let's give them some herbs. Let's put some nutrients in the body with a shotgun of a syringe and shove it down their throat and watch them pop back to life. Because we got to bring life back to our people, to wake our people up from dying. It's too much death right now, and death is not natural. Death is unnatural. We shall live and not die. Why are we dying? Because of sin. We're doing the wrong thing. So I'm coming out, and I will have time to see people. Iridology only takes me about 5 minutes to tell you everything. Ricky Martin, not the singer, but Ricky, Slick Rick, Pretty Ricky is what they called him. But see, he can tell his testimony. He sent me a picture of his eyes today. In 5 minutes, I told him everything that was going on. He texted me back, remarkable. This is unbelievable.
So for anyone that's watching, that's thinking about doing it, right? Is it painful? Any needles? Anything? Do you have to numb the eyes? Is it a painful process, or will it be simple?
I actually still keep my oath of being the doctor. The doctorate oath is number one, practice prevention, do no harm to the human body, medicine, surgery when necessary. I'm going to look in your eyes. I don't need to have you take your clothes off. I'm not going to be a pervert and molest you through a pap smear. I'm going to look in your eyes and I'll see everything. I can see scar tissue, cyst on the ovaries. I can see if the ovary is missing, the fallopian, your uterus. I can see everything. Miscarriages. And I can check your breasts without exposing you to radiation. And I go hide behind a wall and I smash the breast. Very uncomfortable for women. I'm just going to look in the eye within minutes. Within less than a minute, left eye, right eye, I'll see everything. And I give you a full report right then and there. And I'm your doctor for the rest of your life.
Okay. So Ricky says, I guess after he sent you pictures, Ricky says, how did he know I've had knee surgery and some more stuff?
Because the eye records all of your information. If you had a miscarriage, I will see it. If you are stressed, I can see what month the stress started. Trauma at birth. I can see how long you've been stressed because the carnal doesn't understand the things of the spirit. So many people go to a doctor because they don't feel good. The doctor run a battery of tests. They make money on everything. Your blood pressure, just to ask you a question, fill out a check in at the station, assessment, intake, everything's money. They're going to make money to come back with a false positive, a misdiagnosis, and say, oh, your knee hurts. Well, you got knee-itis. Oh, the buttons are falling off. You got buttonitis. Oh, you don't feel good. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious-itis. They make up the terms. I look in the eye. I don't see disease. I'm looking which one of your organs are acidic. So I can look in the right eye and see the right patella, the MCL, LCL, ACL. I see all portions of the bone system, the ligaments, cartilage, meniscus. And I'm going to tell you, oh, there's acid in this place. There's scar tissue, old injury. I can see it all. So that's how I was able to do that with Ricky. The reason for this is so we can focus on where the problems are coming from. I don't want to diagnose you with some disease that it has a pattern and there's no cure. I want to get to the seed, the source, not the root.
So I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm thankful that you blessed my platform tonight. There's going to be another interview, I hope, because the next interview I want to speak to you about, should you have the time, is the diseases and the illnesses that people are plagued with or believe that they have. I want to know your take on that. I want you to think about this and be ready next time if you come on my platform. I want to know, is disease hereditary? I want you to remember, look, like you don't have anything else to do. I want to talk about it being hereditary. I want to talk about the health of women and men, but how we can do better. And I want to know, as far as if it's genetic. Someone once said, a doctor online said, that it's not always genetic if you don't do what those before you that had the disease did.
Yeah, that's 99% correct. The 1% that's wrong is always. Okay. All diseases are not hereditary. There's no disease that's hereditary. It's the food. We're eating grandmama's recipe of the macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
The candy yams, the ham hocks, the beef, the pork. It's so recipe.
I'll see you on
We'll
August
talk about
24th.
That. Yep. We'll talk about that.
You can be found on Facebook.
Social media. Yep. Facebook. And then 323-479-6235. You could call me tonight. You could call me after this interview. Share my number with any and everybody. I give my personal number out because I don't want people to think I'm hiding from anybody, because I'm only giving the truth. It will hurt some people's feelings. I want people to be educated. Okay. Thank you. And our next one, we'll talk about women's health and uterine health and show Black men why we have the largest prostates in the Black community. And we're going to tackle some myths, and we're going to bust them wide open so we can educate our people that disease is not hereditary. And I'll break it down. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ricky, August 24th, not Ricky. Ricky's on my mind. Ricky said something about putting on some music. It was cue for some music.
Well, it better be something from the West Coast.
Dr. Lamar, thank you once again. And I look forward to seeing you. Okay.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. We're gonna bring more. We're gonna be, and I will be interviewing more people for the upcoming event. I mean, it sounds like just knowing what they have planned for RVA, for the RVA Wellness Community Expo and Fashion Show. It's an all-day thing, right? You're gonna get to meet Dr. Lamar. If you want an examination, you'll get to speak to Dr. Lamar, and we'll talk to some of the other people that are involved in this event. Remember, don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow, because if you do, you just might miss living today. I am Stacey Thomas, and have a great night.